In this episode, Golden and I discuss Masters of the Universe Revelations, Season 1, Part 2. Full speed ahead.
The Omega Beam. Full power.
Welcome to the Omega Beam number 165. I'm your host, Oren Merton. So back in the Omega Beam episode 137 last year, we discussed the first 5 episodes from season 1 of Kevin Smith's Netflix animated series, Masters of the Universe Revelations. The second group of episodes, which we can call Part 2 of season 1, came out in November. So we're finally getting to it, and since it's been a fair number of months, we don't really do the spoiler-free upfront, spoilers at the end. We're kind of going into spoilers the whole time. So be forewarned. So let's get to it.
I'm here with Oren to talk about Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2, or Season 2, however you want to phrase it.
We watched the first half. We have an episode on the first half. It ended on one doozy of a cliffhanger, that's for sure.
And we're a little late in getting to the second season because it actually aired at the end of November.
Right.
It just ended up kind of getting shifted to the back of our list of things to watch.
But it wasn't shifted because we didn't want to watch it. It was shifted just because there's so many other things out there. And I'm glad we did watch it.
Yeah.
I think that all the stuff we said about the first one still holds. It's a good story. It's not a Masters of the Universe story you've seen before. I know that some of the internet commentators have been a little bit upset that one of the female leads of the Masters of the Universe had a very prominent role, as prominent, maybe even more prominent than He-Man himself. But I don't think that hurt the story at all. I think it made it a good story.
It still bothered me. The Sarah Michelle Gellar, I'm a fan of hers. The casting just doesn't seem right for the voice casting. And also with Alicia Silverstone for the Queen. It took me out of the show a lot. So back to, did you enjoy the second season, the second half?
Yeah, I did. I liked the way they wrapped it up. I think they left it open for future stories if that's where they want to go.
They left it open. If you have all this power, how do you use it? In what way do you use it? Just because you have the power, does that mean that you have to use it?
Right.
And then also with like Skeletor, I mean, He-Man or Adam, either one, wants to give him the chance to not be the villain.
Right, but he doesn't change.
He may not, but there's another character in the show that does.
Right, there's definite theme, I think, of change.
Not letting others dictate who you are and being true to yourself. So I very much enjoyed the character development of all of them. And I know you were saying that some people may have been upset with Tila having as much of that. It was more, but after you watch the series, it's very much about Tila. And it's about Revelations, not just with Adam/He-Man, but with Tila more so.
Yeah, I think the people who didn't like that are probably the people who basically just wanted more episodes of the show that they remember from when they were a child. And I think that they probably have a little maybe skewed memory of what the cartoon was as a child, because I know that all the characters that were focused on in this were focused on in the previous one as well. So they just probably didn't watch those particular episodes or give them as much weight in their own memories as they had.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember the Masters of at Arms, the Sorceress, and He-Man.
Right.
Those are mainly the characters I remember from watching it when it originally aired. I don't remember a lot about Tila or a lot of the other characters. So I can understand where they're coming from, because that's a few decades ago.
Yeah, it was. But, if you liked He-Man and you're not opposed to seeing, strong females have character arcs, I think this is a very good series and you will enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting. And I like the fact that they didn't feel like they had to just continue on from decades ago, that they could tell their own story. I know that Kevin Smith was very excited about it, and It's easy to see why.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a lot of love went into this, and I have absolutely no inkling of how successful, how many people have been watching this, how successful it is by Netflix's metrics. HBO Max has been so excited about Peacemaker that they've released figures, but Netflix has not released figures
on Masters of the Universe, and I'm not sure if that's because it's not doing that well or just because they like to hold those things close to the vest. But take that as you will. But a lot of care and effort clearly went into it. I think that it mostly paid off. The majority of the voice cast, I think, is well cast. I think Chris Wood as Prince Adam He-Man was very good.
Everyone in the show is an excellent voice actor. There's just something, like I said, that just doesn't sit well with me in terms of the casting of those two particular characters.
Yeah, the tone was just not what you expected.
But I'm not saying that Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't do a good job. I'm not saying that Alicia Silverstone didn't do a good job. It's just something seems off.
I get it. I remember commenting on our episode where we talked about the Mitchells versus the Machines, where I just thought the voice actor who played the young boy sounded way too much like an adult. And even though he didn't do a bad job, it just, it sounded like his voice had changed when he was 11 or whatever, which just sounded a bit off to me. So I get it. I get what you're saying, that if the voice, even if the acting is good, if the voice doesn't match what you kind of expect in your mind to hear out of the animated character, it can be a little off-putting. But even that considered, I still think most people would enjoy this if they like this kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it was interesting to see, well, what is the actual sword in terms of the power and Adam becoming He-Man?
Right.
Is it the sword? Is it something with him? What is it the sword does for him in terms of him being?
Yeah, that's something that I'm going to guess was never dealt with in the early days, because that's kind of a more philosophical idea than you're going to get with something aimed at Saturday mornings to sell toys.
So I did think it was kind of, and this just caught me as humorous, that at the very end with Andra, how her new hairstyle just reminded me of Naomi Nagata from Expanse. It's like we just went from Masters of the Universe to, and there's Naomi. So yeah, it was just humorous to me.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have a lot to say. I think we both very much enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
It had its little moments that are a little deep. It had its little, what is power? How do you use power? How do you be true to yourself? How do you let other people guide who you are as a person, or do you decide for yourself who you are?
Right. And it's not
that.
And it's not a long investment of time, because there's 5, 20 plus minute episodes. I mean, we watched them all in an evening. If this interests you, you could basically think of it as watching one movie, and not even a long movie. So it's something you could just quickly catch and enjoy.
Yeah, the first season, 2.5 hours. Second season, 2.5 hours. And, looking at the trivia from IMDb, I guess Alan Oppenheimer, who was the original voice of Skeletor and a whole bunch of the people, voiced Moss Man in this one.
Nice.
And it was, it's kind of fun to think about the fact that you have Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy together again.
Oh, was he in this?
Yeah, Kevin, was an ancillary character.
That's fun. Yeah, Mark Hamill does an incredible job as Skeletor.
And you've had the female characters have outfits that no longer reveal cleavage. They're much more modest.
Although when Evil Lynn goes full power, they did manage to remove all the cloth from her midsection.
If you enjoy finding out more about Grayskull and the universe and Eternia, I think that you're going to have a fun 5 hours watching this.
Yeah, this does expand the mythology, I think, quite a bit. And I say that not knowing the original mythology all that well, but it certainly is a lot deeper in this than I recall it being.
I like finding out a little bit more about the Sorceress's relationship to Grayskull and everything.
Yeah, it was well put together. Well, thank you, Golden.
You're welcome.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/165. If you liked this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your reviews can help people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.
The Omega Beam. Full stop.